UFC 240 this Saturday, live exclusively on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. And the main event is a UFC featherweight title bout between the current champion, Max Blessed Holloway, taking on former UFC lightweight champion, longtime featherweight contender, Frankie, the answer, Edgar. How do we get this? How do we get to this point where a 37, 38-year-old Frankie Edgar, who just less than 2 years ago was stopped for the first time in his career against Brian Ortega, coming off a win against Cub Swanson, who's no longer even ranked, is fighting against Max Holloway? How did we get this? It's very easy to see, and you got to consider a few things. Number one, this is a weird timing for this pay-per-view. Don't you agree? We got, at the beginning of this month, we had the International Fight Week card. One of the biggest cards of the summer. Always one of the biggest cards of the year. It had monster card from Masvidal and Askren to the Holm and Nunez fight and the John Jones, Thiago Santos bout. And then in August, coming up after this fight, we're going to have the big heavyweight title rematch between DC and Stipe. So this is a between big pay-per-view card in Canada. So they needed a main event for this card. They're not going to get as much pay-per-view sales as they're going to get on those two other cards. So they bring in Max Holloway. And are they going to give him a tough contender at the moment? Are they going to give him Volkanovski or Zabit or Yair or Josh Emmett? I don't think so. Obviously, they didn't go that route. And there's some things to consider there. Max Holloway is a very beloved and popular champion. He was on a 13-fight win streak. He was one of the top pound-for-pound guys. They try to move him up to lightweight for an interim title bout at lightweight against Dustin Poirier. He loses that bout very convincingly. So now it's time to bring him back down and remodel him again as the featherweight king. And to get some attention back on him and get him back in the win column and have him beat a name that people are familiar with, that's not too much of a risk at this point, what was a better choice than Frankie Edgar? The only thing is, when you look at Frankie Edgar, I don't believe Max has fought somebody that transitions with their boxing and wrestling accompanied with the experience as much as Frankie Edgar is. I think he's got a really live dog that he's going against this time. And I'm not so sure Max Holloway's taken enough time to recover. He had some issues with neurological problems before the Brian Ortega fight that we were worried about. We were worried about his weight cutting. He silenced a lot of doubters with the Ortega fight, but then he just took a lot of damage in the Poirier fight. Nevertheless, this fight is being brought in to get another notable name on the hit list of Max Holloway as this champion of this division. And they're giving a longtime vet who was always good company man and always there for them, and a great champion, great fighter, and I believe one of the top 15, top 20 to ever step in a cage, Frankie Edgar, one more shot. But that's what we got that's going on this weekend. I think it's a good fight. I think we've got a real live dog in Frankie. I would not underestimate him. UFC 240 this Saturday, live exclusively on ESPN Plus pay-per-view.